Hi students, so I hope you are all preparing well for your midterm examination. So to boost your preparation, here I made a video which gives important topics you need to cover from individual chapters. So let us go for what will be the syllabus for your midterm examination. So the first is electric charges and fields, electrostatic potential and capacitance, current electricity, moving charges and magnetism, magnetism and matter, electromagnetic induction, alternating current, electromagnetic waves, ray optics and optical instruments. In this 9 chapters, I recommend you to all the chapters except the magnetism and matter and electromagnetic waves. You should read all the chapters completely, and I will tell you which were the topics very important. But the magnetism and matter and electromagnetic waves are very much little because lot of topics are removed from these 2 chapters. So just concentrate on few questions on this magnetism and matter and electromagnetic waves. So let us go for the discussion which are very important in individual chapters topics. Okay. So now let us understand which are very important in electric charges and fields. So here you have to read the method of charging, that is called electrification. So by induction method. So this is actually a 2 mark or a 3 mark question. And properties of charges 2 are 1 mark question. And Coulomb's law. So definitely they are going to ask for 3 marks, sometimes 2 marks. Okay. So in that Coulomb's law, you have to read problems. Remember this. In first chapter, the probability asking of questions in the problem section is from Coulomb's law. Please solve more problems on Coulomb's law. And the next topic is electric field, field lines, properties. So electric field, the definition, field lines, how to represent the field lines, and the properties of the field lines. All these questions, they may be individually, they may ask what is electric field, they may ask what are field lines and how to represent the field lines, and they may ask what are the properties of field lines. This type questions may be arises. So that it may be 3 or 2. I recommend most probably the questions will be asked for 2 marks. Please remember this. And when it comes to the dipole moment, dipole moment, you have to read 2 questions. 2 derivations is there. The meaning of dipole moment and all these basics and the expression for dipole moment, please read on that. So don't forget, they may ask for 1 mark question. Okay. Much you can't expect more than that. What is dipole moment? P is equal to 2a into q. So this may be the dipole moment questions like this. And the electric field along the axial point and the equatorial line. So the 2 derivations is there. So these 2 derivation you can expect definitely comes from 5 marks question. Okay. And very important. Don't forget this. Definitely comes in your exam. And after this, next read on linear charge density, surface charge density, and volume charge density. This may be 2 marks question for you. Okay. Next, after this is comes under the continuous charge distribution topic. In that, these 3 subtopics will come. After that, you read on Gauss law, very important. Q by epsilon naught. So that Gauss law and their applications. In the applications, you have to read So the first is infinite long conductor. So electric field due to infinite long conductor. So the next is next one is uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. Infinite plane sheet. And you notice another derivation called spherical shell. So please don't read that because that is excluded from the syllabus. Okay, I hope you understand these 2 derivations and these 2 derivations, and that in the dipole moment 2 derivations and in the Gauss law application 2 derivations. So these 2 are very important. These 4 derivations very important in the point of view of your 5 marks question. Okay, and the remaining questions as I listed here, it will be asked. Okay, so next move on to the next chapter. Hmm, electrostatic potential and capacitance. So which topics you need to read here? There were a lot of topics is there, but in that I am listed very much less because of for the point of view of our exam. I just made the list. So first you need to read potential energy due to 2-point charges in the absence of electric field. Many times this question is repeated many times. And another question is, this is very important, and the marks allotted for this is 3 marks. This is not a 5 marks question, you need to remember. And sometimes only in the midterm they may ask for 5 marks. Okay, not in the final exam. So the relation between the electric field and the potential, there is a relation. So that relation is very important. Let us take it as for 3 marks. And one more question. This is electrostatic shielding. What is meant by electrostatic shielding? This type the question will be asked for 1 marks. Definitely it will be asked. And this is also for polar and non-polar molecules. This is for just for while introducing the electrics, we are going to do this polar and non-polar molecules. So this is also what are polar molecules, what are non-polar molecules. 1 mark question we can expect. And this is very important. Capacitance and parallel plate capacitor. So what is meant by capacitance? And you are having it in what will be the capacitance for parallel plate capacitor. This is 5 mark question. Remember, very important. Okay, definitely comes in your exam. You can't leave this derivations. They are very important. Capacitance for parallel plate capacitor. So remember, here introducing the dielectric material and considering the air as a dielectric material, you are having 2 derivations. But you have to read for air as a dielectric media. Okay, so so dielectric material, here air you need to consider, and you have a derivation. So please read that. Okay, and then next one is combination of capacitors and energy stored in a capacitor. This 3, okay, they may ask for 3 or 5 marks, and here also the energy stored is definitely asked for 5 marks question. And you need to remember, in the combination of capacitor there is a series combination as well as parallel combination. The problem asking probability is very much high. Okay, remember, combination of capacitor series and parallel combinations. And even, so what will be the capacitance, they may ask the questions. That's why I mentioned here, problems are very much important in these topics. Definitely the problems will come from these topics only. Okay. I hope you understand. In the electrostatic potential and capacitance, these are the very important, so the topics. I'm not recommending you only read on these topics, but first preference should be for these topics. Next, move on to the current electricity. In current electricity, please read on Ohm's law and the limitations. This is for 2 marks, this is for 2 marks. Okay, and another important definitions are J is equal to sigma into E. There is a conductivity and electrical relation to the vector component. So this is another important an expression. And what is meant by drift velocity? So this may be for 3 marks. And drift velocity and expression for drift velocity. So this is having a 2 derivation is there for drift velocity. This may be asked for 2 or 3 marks. And very important 5 mark question. Again I am repeating. This is for 5 mark. So sigma is equal to ne square tau by m. This is in conductivity relation in terms of relaxation time. So this is a very important derivation you need to solve already. Okay, and next is how the temperature is depending on the, so how the resistivity of the material depends on the temperature. This is another very important. Please read. This is for only 1 mark, 1 mark, 1 or 2 mark, maximum 2 mark. They may never ask for 2 marks. So, but 1 mark definitely going to ask. And Next is 2 mark definitions. What is meant by electrical energy? What is meant by electrical power? 2 marks. Yes, definitely it's for 2 marks and two only. 2 marks only. And if it is sometimes as for 1 mark, you have to write it. No option. Okay. So next, very important is series and parallel combination of cells. Very important. So both for your 5 marks, problems. Here I listed problems as well as for your derivations. Okay. So next important topic is Kirchhoff rules. 3 mark question, because two laws is current law and Kirchhoff voltage law. These two laws and Wheatstone bridge. Remember, so this Wheatstone bridge is very important. Balancing resistors. Okay, so balanced network. Okay, you have to read on that Wheatstone bridge. And related to that, please solve few problems. There is a chance of asking the problems in the Wheatstone bridge. Okay, so that's why I recommend you please read Kirchhoff rules and Wheatstone network. These are very important topics. Very important topics. Okay, I hope you got a minimum questions from this current electricity. So please read every topic. First, give preference give for this topics. So next, let us come to the moving charges and magnetism. In moving charges and magnetism, read and definition of Lorentz force, 1 or 2 mark question. And expression for radius of a circular path of charge in uniform magnetic field. That is, if a charge is placed in magnetic field that take in helical path, if you have to determine what will be the radius, that may be asked for 3 or 2 marks. Definitely, I recommend it's for 3 marks, not for 2 marks. And 2 mark question is what is Biot-Savart law. And the next question is magnetic field on the axial of a circular curve. Dear students, this is very important. Don't leave this. This is for 5 marks. And Ampere's circuit law. Definitely, these two questions are very important. They may award little less marks, but those were very important. 2 marks question. And this solenoid and toroid also asked. So this toroid, just remember the final expression. What will be the expression for solenoid and the toroid? So they are not going to ask the derivation. Okay. So what will be the effective magnetic field from the solenoid and toroid? So both you need not to read. So entire derivation not required. Just remember the final expressions. What is solenoid? And give the expression for magnetic field on solenoid and toroid. So this type of questions they may ask. Individual questions. So 2 marks questions definitely. Okay. So next is very important in this is force between two parallel current carrying conductors. Definitely this for 5 marks. Don't forget. And the next one is for 3 marks, torque acting on rectangular current loop. 3 mark question. And moving coil galvanometer. In this, how to convert a galvanometer into a meter, and so how to convert a galvanometer into voltmeter, and what is meant by shunt resistor. This type of questions you can expect from moving coil galvanometer. So very important in terms of, they may ask for conversion for 2 marks, but if they club together, you can they can ask for 3 marks, not more than that. Okay, I hope you understand this. Next, let us go for another chapter, magnetism and matter. So please read very little less topics from this chapter. Properties of magnetic field lines is enough, and Gauss law of magnetism, just read on that. And here I made a list of definitions you need to read from this earth magnetism, that is geographical poles, magnetic poles, reason for earth sorry, this is earth, okay, earth magnetism. And very important, what is meant by dip or inclination, or a declination, and what are horizontal component. These three definitions, please read on that. Definitely this will come for 2 marks. Okay, and properties of magnetic field lines also they should ask. Okay, so next, electromagnetic induction. Please read on the Faraday and Henry experiment should to show the electromagnetic induction, that is coil and magnet experiment, and even the coil experiment is there. Just read any one. I don't expect much twist in this question. Okay, next is Faraday law of electromagnetic induction. There is a, in your textbook there is only one law, so please concentrate on one law. So don't read because many books provided two laws. Just read on one law, it's enough. That is second law. Faraday law of electromagnetic induction. This is definitely asked for 2 marks. This is also 3 mark or 2, and it is for 2. Lenz law and conservation of energy. Lenz law, it shows the direction of the current. So that's why it's very important. Sometimes when I ask the current, which law states the direction of the electric current? That is Lenz law. This is for 1 or 2 marks, and conservation of energy, it's asked for 2 or 3 marks. There is a theory related to the conservation of energy in Lenz law. That's you need to take. Okay. Next, very important is for 3 marks is motional electromotive force. Please read this topic, very important. There is a relation called BVL. So the EMF produced is equal to BVL, magnetic field, uh, and the velocity and the length of the conductor. This is the motional electromotive force, very important. And when it comes to the eddy currents, what is meant by eddy currents? They may ask for 1 mark, 2 marks, and advantages, disadvantages. So most of all, they are asking for advantages for 2 marks. Please remember, very important. Okay. So next is self-inductance and energy stored. Very important, students. This is I expect for 5 marks. Okay. So what is meant by self-inductance, and you have to show that the expression for self-inductance L, and you have to derive the expression for what will be the energy stored. And the next important question for 5 marks is in AC generator. In the AC generator, they are asked for construction, working, and as well as deriving for how much EMF is produced. So that's why the AC generator is for 5 marks. We can expect very important, very important. And in the point of view of the problems, so the problems may ask from motional EMF, that is motional electromotive force, and in self-inductance and in AC generator. So these were all the topics we can expect problems. Sorry, this is not the problem section. Right on here. From we can expect the problem from here, and we can expect the problem from self-inductance or mutual inductance problems, I am saying, and AC generator. Problems will come from, I expect, from these three topics. So next is, let us move on to the another very important chapter for alternating current, and very easily you can score marks from this chapter, because for the resistor, for the inductor and the capacitor, you just need to derive the current component from, and also you have to draw the phasor diagram. This is definitely asked for 3 marks. One question is for 3 marks from this topic. And they may ask for what is meant by inductive reactance and capacitive reactance, 2 or 1 marks. And very important 5 marks question from this, LCR circuit current component using phasor diagram. Okay, and in that Q factor, resonance frequency, and bandwidth. So this type of questions will become from the LCR circuit, and this is for 5 marks. LCR circuit current component with phasor diagram is for 5 marks. And Q factor, these are all 1 or 2 mark questions. What is meant by resonance frequency? What is meant by Q factor? So this may be asked for 2 marks. Okay, and the problems, definitely one problem is asking from LCR circuit. Please solve more problems on this topic. Okay, so then the next topic is LC oscillation. This is actually 3. So LC oscillation, you have to read on what is meant by LC oscillation. Actually, it having how it's look, it's resembles the oscillation by an equation, simple harmonic motion equation. So, but you need to read more on energy stored in the LC oscillation, because it depends on the capacitor, and you have to derive that. So this is very important, and I expect for 5 marks from this. And the very important question is transformer. Okay, in the transformer you need to give the relation, so the primary coil and the secondary coil, and it's very important, students. Very important. Transformers, don't leave this. LCR circuit and transformers are very important. And there is a question, they may be asked for 2 or 3 more, that is different sources of energy loss. There is a different hysteresis loss. So there is a list, please read on that, don't forget. So definitely for 2 or 3 marks. Okay, or it may be if they ask for 1 or 2 this energy loss, you have to write for 1 mark also. Definitely comes from this. Okay, so please read on that. So next is electromagnetic waves. In the electromagnetic waves, don't spend much time for this. Just read on properties of electromagnetic waves and proper expression for velocity. That is c is equal to 1 by root of mu naught epsilon naught. That is the root of permeability and the permittivity of free space. So this is an expression, they may ask for 1 mark question, and the properties of electromagnetic waves they may ask for 1 mark question. And where you need to concentrate is what are the applications of electromagnetic waves with wavelength, because the different because you have a electromagnetic spectrum, individual spectrum having the individual wavelengths. So the each electromagnetic wave having the individual wavelength. So then you need to just go through once. Okay. So definitely one question, 1 or 2 expect one, definitely one question from, so the application. They can't go from this. Okay. They have to give. Okay. Next is, after that we come to the last chapter. So the last chapter having, so the important is Lensmaker's formula. So please read on that and so solve few problems on that, and effective focal length of 2 lenses. So and even you need to solve the problems also from this, and relation between N, U, V and R for a refraction in spherical surface problem is there, as well as we have to derive a relation, and refractive index of a material of a prism, and problems you need to solve from that. Okay, few times they are asked in the exam, and even you can because 9 chapters is there, if you read thoroughly the 8 chapters you can leave this chapter. Okay, no problem, but 1 mark question, they don't have the options. That's why you need to concentrate more on 1 mark question in this chapter. If you have much time, please read this chapter also. I am not recommending to leave any chapters because this is only the syllabus of 9 chapters for your midterm. But if you prepare now very well, it will be very helpful for your final exam. That's why I suggest to read every topics, but consider these important topics from individual chapters. So thank you one and all. So it will be very helpful, I think. Thank you.